welcome to episode 1 of what we are tentatively calling the Ogre and the Troll podcast.
Which one's the Ogre?
We don't know yet. We'll figure it out. That will come to light in time, I'm sure.
Sure.
But I have never done a proper podcast before. I've been a guest on one or two, but I've never actually set one up and did all the shit we did today. I can swear on this thing, right?
Yes. We can swear on whatever we want.
Yeah, so this is kind of cool. We just kind of came up with the idea the other day. I just shot you a message and I was just like, hey, let's do it,
And I have done a podcast before.
And I figured you'd be up for it, so it was just kind of like, hey, let's do this thing. Okay, let's go. So here we are. There's a broad array of different topics we can talk about. Mostly music related, nerd related type shit.
Yeah, that's music nerd stuff.
But I figured the first episode would probably be a good place to just talk about where we come from musically.
Sure.
What brought us to this point? Because we've both been doing music for over 20 years now. Mm-hmm. I've been playing for damn near 25 years, and you've been at it more than about around that same time, right? Because you were a little older when you started.
So when I started doing music, I was already in my 20s.
Okay.
I didn't start early. And that's, I played piano when I was younger, and, ding,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's Mom and Dad had a piano in the house, and Mom's big thing was putting and I remember this, putting paper letters. She'd tape them onto the top of the keys to help us learn. To help us learn what they were. And I got decent at it, but I was never really very good at playing that kind of stuff. Picked up a bass for the first time, and I picked up a guitar for the first time, and I'm not very good at either.
How old were you when you picked those up?
Oh, God. That was 15, 16, somewhere around there. I was a teenager.
And when did you start playing piano?
10 years old.
Okay. So when was it did you get a fascination with rock or something? Is that why you went?
The thing is, with my family, everybody is very into their music. My mother and father are both very much rock people. They like rock and pop and stuff like that. But Dad skews more towards the Beatles and the Beach Boys and right. Eric Clapton, guys like that.
So more of the stuff that when he was coming up.
Exactly. Yeah. And mom listens to that stuff too, but she like most folks of her age ventured into the weirder stuff. You have the David Bowie, Ozzy, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And that's where I got this fascination with rock and heavy metal, and I was always fascinated by guys like Ozzy, because let's face facts, Ozzy, as glorious a person as he wasn't all that talented. It really wasn't all that talented.
I'm sure many people would beg to differ.
Well, look, he can write lyrics. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Genius level at writing lyrics. When he wrote the lyrics. But the vast majority of the first Black Sabbath album, Geezer wrote the lyrics. Ozzy didn't even write it.
Yeah, I think I heard that somewhere.
He wrote melodies. He wrote the vocal melodies. But really, how hard is it to listen to something? Because I do it. I listen to something. I'm like, oh, that sounds good. Why don't we do that? And then I take it to you. A little glimpse into our process. I take it to Nick, and Nick goes, nope, yep, good.
Right. So, okay, so you had a fascination with rock at a really young age, right?
Sure.
So did you start getting into metal around the same time? Was that the teenage years?
Yeah, around the teenage years. See, I'm a little bit older than you.
A little bit.
I am
same generation.
I am the elder millennial.
Yeah.
I came up right when bands like Deftones were coming out, and Korn. I saw the rise of Korn. What became them?
That's wild, dude.
I saw all these different bands just start popping, and they were just coming up, and it was I had a fascination with them, but I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
It wasn't until many years later I was actually at a concert, and my entire fascination with performing music was based on a dare.
Was that like a local show that you went to?
We
or-
went to a local show, and I don't even remember the name of the band. Their name escapes me. See, that's part of getting older. Your brain doesn't remember.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that one.
Yeah, it starts going away.
So the band that you were seeing at the time, were they like a?
They were a metal band. They were a metal band.
Were they doing the harder style of metal? Like were they doing scream? Okay.
Oh yeah.
So they were.
I said to him in my arrogance, I could do that. and Jay looked at me and he called my bluff.
Yeah.
He's like, then do it.
Oh shit. Okay.
And I said, really? And he goes, yeah. Put your money where your mouth is, fucker. That was exactly what he said to me. So I said, well, I've never really thought about it. And I hit Craigslist and all these other places looking for vocalists.
Right.
Now, I had done like little things in the past. My friend Jeff, myself, and some others had done this thing we've termed Music a Day Rock. All it was just we went up north to my parents' house in northern Michigan and just played a bunch of music. And I always get pushed into the role of singer anyway. Because I have an attitude. I have an attitude about me. I have arrogance. I know I'm arrogant. That's not. See, I'm arrogant about being arrogant.
At least you're self-aware about it.
Yeah. He's an asshole, but amazingly self-aware.
At least he knows, right?
So I figured if I'm going to be pushed into this role, I might as well learn something.
Yeah.
So I studied vocalists. I became enamored with vocalists. Maynard James Keenan from Tool's a big influence. Chino Moreno from Deftones, another big influence.
Yeah.
Then later on, I joined my first band, and off to the races. It's never been able to stop.
How long do you think it was between like when you first took that dare and when you were like in your first band actively?
6 months.
Oh shit. Okay. So
6
that was
months.
real quick.
It was 6 months because I wanted to prove him wrong.
Yeah, okay.
Because I'm an asshole. I had to prove him wrong.
Okay, I mean, fair enough, right?
Yeah, and I did prove him wrong. And unfortunately, I didn't realize it would consume the rest of my life.
Yeah, right.
But that's the thing that we learn as musicians is that once you start, you can't stop.
Yeah, I feel like you either have the bug or you don't.
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't, you're not sticking around for it for too long.
Sure.
But if you do, it's like, you got to be careful because it can be all consuming.
It becomes all consuming.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know your story about that. I know vaguely because talking with your dad and hanging out with your dad at shows. I love the fact that his dad comes to shows every single time.
Yeah, shout out to my dad.
Show.
Respect to my dad.
Every single show. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, my dad, that's a perfect segue into talking about where I come from because my dad is who got me into music in the first place. Like, my dad was a metalhead in the 80s. So, I mean, he's been listening to bands that I grew up with since long before I was born.
Sure.
You know, like his favorite bands were Judas Priest and Wasp. So,
Fucked like a beast.
yeah, for real. So, you know, that's what I was raised on. I was raised on Judas Priest, Wasp, Metallica, Ozzy. So, you know, White Zombie, that type of thing. Those were bands. Dude, I can't understand a fucking word he says, but I like the music. But
I can understand the words he's saying.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I'm a vocalist. I focus on that for stupid reasons.
yeah, so a lot of people I know came into metal in like their teens or whatever as like a kind of like an angst thing or something like that.
But angst for me. I just wanted something different.
Yeah, for me it was just kind of something that was always there, you know. So I feel like it wasn't.
Wow. I'm going to close this door because there is a whole lot of sirens going on. I hope so. I hope they're okay.
I think I hear some power tools out there
Yeah,
and shit
that's
too.
not
But
good.
whoops. Whoops. Episode 1, guys. We're still figuring it out. So, yeah, so those were the bands that I grew up listening to. And I think when I was in 7th grade, I had a couple of friends that were just starting to get into metal, but they were really into it. You know, like they were getting into Ozzy and Metallica and Megadeth. And they were like, well, we're going to start a band. And I'm like, okay, you know, I want to be in this group. You know, these are my friends. They want to play music. I'm like, yeah, I want to do that shit too, right? And here I am thinking that like I'm gonna play bass because 4 strings is easier than 6, you know, and which is total bullshit. You know, all respect to real bass players because they're crazy. You know, I mean, the reason there's less strings is because the strings are bigger and longer, and it's hard as fuck to play.
Yeah, there's more intonation you have to go through.
So, you know, that was just kind of a little phase. Nothing really came of it, and I kind of. Later on in like the next year or so, I told my dad that I wanted to play drums, but we didn't have a big enough space for it. We couldn't afford it.
That's where your obsession with drums comes from.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's the
You always wanted to be a drummer.
It's the instrument that like natively called to me. It's what I wanted to play for whatever reason. I just had a fascination with it at the beginning.
Sure.
But it never really materialized, you know? And my dad was like, well, you know, you should play guitar instead. You know, that's kind of what we can work with. It's a lot cheaper, you know, not quite as noisy. So that's what I did.
You can always silent practice with a guitar.
Yeah.
It wasn't until we had great things like that. That shout out to the thing behind Nick. The electronic drum set. Holy cow! And that's even still not quiet, but it's
quiet enough to where you can actually, you know, during the day or something, you can jam and not piss off all your neighbors, you know, where a real drum set, good fucking, I mean, especially in California, you know, like, we're so clustered together as far as living in, you know, houses and shit that.
You'd think it's only a California thing, but coming from Michigan and the Detroit area, people are clustered there. It's what happens when people congregate. I hung around Ann Arbor, Michigan, hung around Grand Rapids, Michigan, hung around Lansing, Michigan. I mean, the setup of how homes go,
kind of the same.
Exactly the same.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I always figured that like maybe back east it'd be a little bit more spread out. But
some of them are, but you also got to remember back east is older. So they've been at this a lot longer.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I guess just like the ideal spot for a drum kit is going to be somewhere where you're just kind of divorced from other people being too close to you, you know?
So you wanted to play drums.
Yeah.
And your dad stuck you with guitar.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, I wanted to play music of some kind. So I was like, all right, well, guitar, you know, if that's what I can get, then that's what I'll do. So I started playing and I started by learning a couple of riffs from Judas Priest and Metallica, you know, Breaking the Law, learning the opening riff from One, you know, learning like, you know, some fucked up, like not correct version of Smoke on the Water, you know. Those were the songs that got me started, but that's kind of what kindled that passion, because I would pick up the guitar and I would play and I couldn't put it down. It was one of those things where you find an activity that you just don't get tired of and you can do all day, every day until you're completely exhausted mentally. Like that's what guitar was for me, you know, and I could play the same riffs over and over. I mean, I worked on...
I don't know how you can do that. Like,
I don't know.
I have to take breaks.
It's weird because with an activity that I'm like trying to force myself to learn, it's like, I don't want to do it. But with guitar, it's just always been a natural thing. Like if the guitar's in the room, I'm going to walk over there and pick it up.
So your dad picked the right instrument for you then?
Yeah, I think so. You know, maybe I just liked to hear myself making noise. You know, that's kind of how I describe it. But I feel that is the main reason why I've put so much time into it over the years and I've gotten as good as I have, is just that it's a natural thing.
Well, you also took classes in music theory.
I did, yeah.
That I know of. I don't know the whole. Why did you decide to do that? To
take classes and things? Mostly because it was available. I mean, after I got out of high school, there were music classes that I could take at the junior college. So I was like, all right, well, this is what I'm really interested in learning, because I saw myself as having a path in music. So I'm like, well, I want to, you know, study this as much as I can. So why not do it while I have the opportunity? And that ended up being like a huge benefit to me.
Well, it introduced you to our other bandmate.
Yeah. I mean, taking music classes has changed my life for the better, you know.
Really?
Yeah, big time. So that's kind of the backstory of how I got into guitar in the first place. It was just one of those things where, like I said, it was a really fun activity for me, so I'd want to do it like all the time when I was home from school on vacation or during the weekend or something. Like, I was also really into video games, so how I would spend my weekends, I wasn't nearby any other kids, so I wasn't hanging out with other people. I lived in kind of a remote part of the town that we lived in, and I didn't have a car, so I couldn't go places and hang out with people. So
I grew up on a farm, believe me. I know what remote is.
So my weekends basically just consisted of, and my summers and my winter vacations and everything was I'd be at home. I would play video games for a little while, and then I'd switch to guitar when I got bored of video games, and then I'd switch back to video games when I got bored of guitar. And, that's kind of how it happened. And, then like YouTube came along and stuff, and I was getting inspired by, this was probably when I was like 15, 16.
Yeah, this is early YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking, mid-aughts, so like 2005, 2006, I started seeing guys who were posting their stuff on YouTube, and it was like revolutionary. I mean, seeing Guthrie Govan for the first time was like mind-blowing for me. I was like, I have to learn.
I don't even know who that is.
He's kind of niche, but at the same time, well-known nowadays.
Was he one of the OGs or something of YouTube?
Yeah, I would say that his popularity exploded when YouTube was like first getting started, because I heard about him, I think, in like 2007, and I think he put out that album Erotic Cakes in like 2006. It's funny. His sense of humor is just
great title.
His sense of humor is
erotic
hilarious,
cakes.
but I mean, just the level of guitar playing was unlike anything I've ever heard, and he's still today recognized as being like if not the best, like one of the top guys, right?
Really?
So I started getting into that stuff, and I like got into my first band, I think, when I was in my junior year of high school or sophomore year. I had made friends with a drummer, and we were playing a couple of covers, and like we had like one original or something.
Sure.
Never really went anywhere. And then I got into a different band that I ended up being in for a number of years, Nuclear Tempest. I got into that one right after. And that was my introduction to some of the heavier styles of metal, because up until then I had been firmly rooted in like the 80s style stuff.
Sure, yeah.
So newer bands that were coming out, like Avenged Sevenfold, where they had, like in 2009, I think is when their White album came out, the self-titled one. It still had that hardcore sensibility of their earlier metalcore stuff, but it was more.
Yeah, because I thought their early stuff was a lot of screaming.
Their first album, especially, yeah. But then the singing kind of, crept in.
Yeah.
And it got more and more as they went along. But I really connected with their self-titled album because it had that same 80s heavy metal type vibe to it.
That was kind of their thing. They were trying they wanted to be the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, well, they definitely got huge, Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what I was into at the time. And, being in Nuclear Tempest, I got introduced to bands like Trivium and Killswitch Engage.
Definitely.
Because that's the kind of music we were playing at the time. Like we were playing, hard riffs, still melodic, but a little bit more visceral type riffs than what I was used to. But then the vocals were the screaming stuff. And I remember we were still in high school at the time, and we went in to record this demo in the band room, and we had all the instrumental parts done, and I was like so happy. And then I heard the vocals, and I was like, what the fuck is this, dude? I'm just like, and like, why was that your? It's because I just didn't have any frame of reference for what metal screaming was. I wanted it to all be singing.
Well, who was doing the screaming?
It was my friend Anthony.
Okay.
So
okay, and what style was he going for?
Well, he was going for the Killswitch Engage.
Okay,
like that type. Of, All That Remains. That type of style.
So it's the Fry screams.
Yeah.
The not so much gutturals.
No,
not so
not
much
guttural.
The stuff that we're coming out with now with the Alex Terrible and the bear screams, like the ones that sound like a wild fucking animal.
No, it was more it was firmly rooted, I think, in the hardcore style.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
At least the vocals were, not necessarily the music.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of where that was coming from.
Well, that's why it's called metal core.
Yeah.
That's the genre.
So I just had no frame of reference for that music at all. Because, like I said, I was listening to all singing. I didn't, like, screaming was grating on me because I just wasn't, I had no idea.
And now it's completely the opposite. 90% of what you listen to now is more screaming than it is singing.
I was like that for a long time, but I've kind of come back to a lot more singing.
Sure.
Especially lately, just because, you know, I feel like this is just my opinion, but screaming is a lot less dynamic, I feel, than
100%.
singing.
Of course it is. You're not using as many notes.
Yeah.
And the distortion that you have to put on your voice in order to achieve that sound, it's not, I mean, it's natural because obviously we can do it.
Yeah.
But I will always go back to what Melissa Cross says. This music is not listen to me sing, see how well I can sing. No, this music is listen to me feel. This is what I'm feeling. That's why the vocals are like that. Because when you're pissed off at someone or trying to tell a point to someone or something like that, you don't go into polysyllabics. You don't look at them and just start going, I don't know why you did this. Life is not a musical.
Yeah. Pretty fucking cool if it was.
It'd be awesome if it was, but that's the thing. You don't perform with that. It's listen to me, get this out.
Yeah, I guess for me, I really vibe with emotive music.
Sure.
So if the vocals are all screaming, I feel like the guitars have to be very, they can't be one-dimensional, I feel. Otherwise, it loses me. And I understand that a lot of people are into that style. You know, metal is such a huge genre that there are so many styles of it that I don't vibe with at all.
Oh, dude, there's so many.
But, yeah, I mean, I like harmony, you know, and I think I'm a huge sucker for vocal harmonies as well. Mm-hmm. So my favorite kinds of music are the ones that just have great harmony.
See, that's why I was so surprised when you and I have talked about this. Why you never got into the Beatles? Their vocal harmonies are just delectable.
You know, I think it all just comes down to timing.
Yeah, that's gotta be it.
It definitely just comes down to timing because I definitely respect them. And I have listened to some of their stuff, and I know anyone who's listening to this is going to hate me for not being into the Beatles. Because believe me, I get it.
But there's artists who are completely against the Beatles' way of doing things.
Yeah.
For instance, I think his name's Val Velo or whatever from the band Him.
Yeah, I know.
His Infernal Majesty. He absolutely hates the Beatles.
Why?
Don't know. Which is so funny because his genre that he is in, more of a rock alternative genre, is directly influenced by them.
And I feel like I'm really due for a deep dive on the Beatles. I've tried to do it a couple of times, and it just hasn't stuck for whatever reason. But that's the thing.
For some folks, it's just, see, like I say, I get my musical education from my parents, and my dad very much into the Beatles. His encyclopedic knowledge of what they offer is unmatched. Yeah. I've never met a person who quite knows as much as he does about that style of music. I don't know. You don't need to deep dive into them to appreciate them, but they definitely are a masterclass in harmony. Like vocal harmonies, they are some of the best. Them and Jan and Dean and the Beach Boys. The Beach Boys, definitely. My God, they can make an entire song with nothing but vocal harmony. You don't need anything else but a weird theremin sound.
Well, one thing that I found really interesting about the Beatles' music was how seamlessly they were able to do like key changes and stuff. Mm-hmm. and how sophisticated the music actually is, even though I think most people would probably see it as simple. Because it's not like super technical.
No,
or
it's not supposed to be
but
technical.
there's really sophisticated music
there's
going on.
technicality into it, but you don't need to be playing 150,000 notes per second in order for it to hit a level of technicality or be sophisticated.
Yeah.
Sophistication is all in how it's crafted. And that's the one thing you and I have always agreed on, especially with this band, is just when we're writing music, I want it to be about the song. It should be about the song.
Right. Whatever.
Not about individual egos or what we feel it should be. If it serves the song and makes a great listen, then I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm there.
I want the songs to be good. And that's what I find with so much modern music is that they're just not good. They can't hold my attention for very long. And it may be that I'm getting older.
I don't think it is, man.
I'm constantly on the lookout for new music. Be it playlists that I listen to, Spotify tracks that I'm listening to, all of that stuff. Doesn't matter. Streaming, anything. I'm always on the lookout for new music.
Yeah.
A band that I'm currently into, Silent Planet. Phenomenal band. Great harmonies, great screaming. There's kind of a techno-industrial feel to some of the parts in them that I really enjoy. There's the lyrical content I enjoy. And I wouldn't have found them had I not just said, hey, why not try this one? Ooh, this is a playlist of a person I appreciate their opinion. Let's listen to this. Oh, I randomly saw this band on a thing. Let me take a listen. You got to be able to take those chances. And, for a lot of the times, it does not pan out.
Yeah.
But there's always those nuggets of awesome that you're just like, wow, this really speaks to me, or this is really cool. And then you find out, oh, this kid's only 23 years old. Damn. Man, he's accomplished all this crap in that amount of time? Fuck, man. What do I do?
I get a bit of that too, honestly.
But I've learned through becoming older that we're all on our own journeys of musical discovery, and you should never have this set in your mind that I'm going to be famous and I'm going to be this. No, the people who make it big are the ones that hit it at the right time, that they can accept it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, there's people who are famous who should never have gotten that far.
Yeah.
That should never have gotten to that place. And they do often self-destruct. In the 2000s era, doing music around people doing lines of cocaine, people doing every drug known to man just to cope with the life.
Yeah.
All I ever did was drink. And now, you know me, I don't drink.
No.
I'll occasionally have a cocktail when we go out, or if we're at a show and somebody's offering whiskey sours for cheap. That's my favorite.
Well, that's kind of interesting because when I was a teenager and a young adult, I definitely stayed away from that, due to my dad's influence. He always, throughout my childhood, he would always tell me, stay away from drugs and alcohol. And he just repeated over and over. And I took that as gospel, Well, so that's kind of what has kind of pushed me, I think, more down the nerdy, more scholastic path of music instead of the more socialized party, not socialized, but, social party.
Social aspect of it, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that, and that kind of kindled my fascination with becoming a more technical and well-versed guitar player, more on the, more on the academic side of it necessarily than the,
That's fair.
In the trenches
That's
type
fair.
side. But also I'm an early bird, so I don't want to stay up until 3 a.m.
I did all that.
Dude, especially now. I mean, in my 30s, I'm just not,
Staying up at 3 and 4 in the morning, that's normal.
It sucks doing it once, bro, but doing it every day is not my jam.
I did it every day for years.
But
for years I did it.
Yeah. So I was in Nuclear Tempest for a while.
Now we're back to stories?
Yeah, we're back to stories, yeah.
Tangents!
We just went on a tangent, but I'm segueing it back.
Okay.
So I was in that band for quite a long time, and I think this was about 2014 where we had met. Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about you going from that very first band that you were in to coming out here and then getting up to that point, because I want to talk a little bit about how we formed, but we got to catch you up there.
Okay. So playing shows, that's what I was doing all throughout the 2000s, was playing shows, getting offers for shows. And this is all before we even had a demo. We didn't have any demo. This is all word of mouth.
Yeah.
And it was a different time, different way of thinking. YouTube was around-ish.
Oh, that's a whole another topic.
Oh yeah.
We'll do an episode on that shit. Fuck.
Well, it was just a different time, to where if you wanted to do a show, you talk to you get together with your friends who are also in other bands, and you're like, hey, I like your music. Hey, I like your music. Hey, we've played a show. Hey, we've played a show. Let's get together and do a show. And then you go to a business owner, a venue owner, and you just say, usually a bar owner or whoever, you say, hey, we want to do a show. And he'll give you a list of dates. This is the date, this is the date, this is the date. How many people you think you can bring in? And we were always just like, of course, we bring it all.
Now, you're a teenager at this point, or are you in your 20s?
No, I'm in my 20s.
Okay, so this is a little bit more serious of a... I had the same kind of thing, but for me it was more like you'd ask like a restaurant owner or something, hey, can we play a show? And it'd be like this day, and they never asked us how many people we could bring in. They didn't care.
It's because we actually went to reputable venues.
Gotcha.
We made relationships with guys at venues in Michigan. There's a venue in Michigan called Harpo's. There's a venue called the IROC Amphitheater. It's not really an amphitheater. It is a room. So that's a full-on lie.
They're not the only venue lying about what they are.
And there's also a lot of places that did both, like, because hip hop was really convalescing at that time.
Yeah.
Eminem was starting to get big, and all kinds of stuff like that.
And this is in Detroit.
And this is in Detroit that I was doing this.
Yeah.
If you throw it, if you throw it, they will show up.
Yeah.
That was the type of mentality, because you had nothing to do. I've told you many, many times. What have I told you about Michigan?
There's only three things people do in Michigan.
3 things to do in Michigan. What are they?
Drinking, fucking, and doing drugs.
There you go. You got the 3 things.
Is the fourth one fighting, though?
No. That only came up because of the drinking.
Yeah.
If you weren't drinking, people tended to have a little bit more decorum and wouldn't get into fist fights. But, as drinkers do, I don't like you. Well, I don't like you either. Well, let's fight about it for whatever stupid reason.
So it's a subheading under the heading of drinking. Yeah.
Subheading.
Right.
The subtext is there. So we did a lot of shows for that band. That band was All Else Fails, and it failed. We had a great following, though. We had, like 70 people at our debut show.
Shit,
we sold out the Token Lounge.
That's not bad for a
The
debut.
Token Lounge is a venue in Westland, Michigan. We sold it out. That band fizzled for reasons I'm not going to get into. It was nothing bad. It was just my guitar player had some personal issues, and
life happens.
Yeah, life happens. That's like what's been happening to us for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Life just happens. So
life gets in the way, as my father would say.
It does.
I didn't mean that to rhyme, but there you go.
Yeah. You're a poet, and now you know.
Yeah. Okay. So that band.
That band fizzled, and I was on the lookout for another band. And I started putting my feelers out there. I wanted another project. The reason being is once you've been bitten by the bug, you got to do it. You need it. It's a need. And it's more or less, your life becomes, look what I could do. Look what I can do. And that's what your life is.
Yeah.
But it's with substance. I don't know if that's a thing. Like, look what I can do with purpose.
Well, that's another thing that, and I won't expound on this too long, but, you know, playing guitar it gave me the same kind, it scratched the same itch as playing video games, but I always, you know, codified it as a beneficial hobby. So it was kind of killing two birds with one stone. It was really fun, but it also was making my life better at the same time. So it's like, here I have this, you know, somewhat marketable skill that is also getting me friends because I'm in the music scene now and people are, you know, they want to hang out and all that stuff. But it's also just fun for me to, you know, sink my time into this.
The lights are going. Changing. Yeah, lights are going wonky.
Anyway,
I got to talking with one of the guys that I put my feelers out to, and he lived in a completely different location. He lived an hour away in a town called Lansing from where I was. I was closer down towards Ann Arbor area, and Detroit was about 60 miles away. But that was, you know, that's not that far. I decided, you know what, I need to get back into this because it's the only thing I really like doing. I didn't have fun doing anything else. I didn't like my job. I didn't like working at the jobs that I was in. Unlike now, I actually enjoy a lot of the aspects of what I do now for a living, but it still doesn't scratch every itch.
Yeah.
Because you're under someone's thumb. You know, you must do this for this many hours. I think your thing is having a low battery issue, but take a little break for a second and plug this in.
We'll be right back after these messages.
Back after these long messages.
See, now we did some voice bullshit, so we can't edit it out. We have to keep it. So all else had you were done with that, and then you got into As Empires Decay, right?
It wasn't called As Empires Decay at the time.
Oh, it was Gravemind.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
exactly.
Right, okay.
They actually didn't have a name, and they were searching for somebody who could do the kind of things that, you know, we have wanted to do. Somebody who could do screaming, who could do singing, and I had done a lot of that. And I kind of felt I was more of a hired gun at this type of thing because they really leveraged my connections.
Oh, okay.
My previous connections with the Detroit area, with the Grand Rapids area, they had connections in the Lansing area, but I had connections pretty much everywhere else.
Gotcha.
We were playing in Lansing, multiple times a month, and just farming that area out. But there were venues there that were throwing shows every single weekend. So we started playing at venues down in Detroit. We started playing in Ann Arbor. We started playing in Grand Rapids. And just, it spitballed into this thing that was larger than anything we had thought. So we figured, oh, maybe we ought to record something.
Oh, okay.
So, and this is all, again, before any recordings had taken place. We'd done demos, but nothing significant. We didn't know what we were doing. None of us did.
Yeah.
It got to around 2011, we finally released an album. Went through, we played Battle of the Bands and all kinds of stuff like that. And another band won the Battle of the Bands, and they got to record a song for free.
Oh, yeah.
And we were butthurt about it, so we said, we're going to do it anyway. You know, we're gonna make our own casino with blackjack and hookers, and forget the casino. So we just decided we were going to do it anyway. So we did. We pooled our money, found a producer who was just on his way starting up, graduate from the Musicians Institute out here in California. So we thought, hey, we got a good guy. And he was a good guy. He helped us refine our sound and really hone in what we were doing. But turns out he wasn't that good of a guy because he ended up screwing us over on the actual masters. Here's a little education for everybody out there. Get them a hard drive, and you have them each and every single time that you are recording. You hand them a hard drive and you get it down on that hard drive, and you take that with you. You take that with you. Yeah, they can have the copies that they're messing with, but your recordings, your all important recordings, you keep on you so that you're not left out in the cold. The entire record is in nothing but MP3 format.
Oh, shit.
He did not give us full 32-bit float. Nothing. It's not even in high quality. It is in 160 kilobits per second MP3s.
Oh my god, 160? Oh,
160.
fuck, dude.
And a lot of streaming services will not carry it. You can go on there right now. You can go onto Spotify, Apple Music, all that. As Empire's Decay is on there.
It's even more of a shame hearing that because it's a good record.
We worked very hard on that.
Yeah.
I worked very hard on that.
Yeah.
I explored aspects of doing vocals that I had never explored before. And shout out to Toby, the guitarist on that record. He wrote a lot of the melodies that I was working with because I wasn't feeling it.
Yeah.
At this time, I was just starting to have vocal troubles and was really not understanding what was going on. I'd never had these problems before. I'm a naturally loud person, so screaming just comes natural to me. You know,
Yeah.
it's not a huge leap for my voice to do, but doing this repetitive stress all the time, I had never even considered it. So around 2010, we were finishing up the record and we were doing shows, and I was having some severe vocal fatigue.
You're talking like long term. You're not talking like day to day fatigue.
It was an everyday struggle.
Yeah.
I'd have to wake up in the morning and, of course, do the clear out the throat.
Right.
I don't have to do that anymore.
Well, see, what most people who aren't in the know don't get is that metal screaming isn't just. There's a technique to it.
There's a technique, and
there's
I wasn't
maintenance
aware.
involved.
I wasn't aware. I
Yeah.
just did it. I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah.
And you know, there was nothing out there for us. There was no YouTube people going on there and teaching you how to properly do it. I suppose I probably could have made a great career as a YouTuber.
Oh, rip to that timeline.
Yeah. That never happened. That is one of the alternate timelines.
Yeah.
I completely avoided it because I didn't want to know that anything was wrong. And I felt like I was letting everybody down. But at the same time, my attitude was shifting. My attitude was shifting more towards, I don't want to be around these fucking people. I don't want to be around this shit.
Yeah.
They were always, you know, either drinking or hanging out, or more drinking and more hanging out, participating in a lifestyle that was anti what I was into.
That kills a lot of bands.
Now, they weren't partiers. They weren't, you know, rambunctious partiers, but there was a lot of drinking, a lot of partying going on. It's the nature of the beast. So
Unfortunately.
I was trying to wrestle that with having to be an hour away from my bandmates because they all lived in the same city. I didn't. And so I just slowly but surely, and don't call me Shirley, I went ahead and just tried to divorce myself from it. We got the first record out. Rave reviews, everybody was liking it locally. It was a local success.
Sure.
And we got more show offers from that. But by that time, I was done. I didn't want to do it anymore. And so I was in the midst of wanting to quit, and they must have felt that because they wanted to fire me because I was such an unpleasant person to be around. And it's because I was in pain. My throat would it feels like there was acid going down my throat. And later on, I find out that's actually what was happening.
Yeah.
I went to an ENT. John Schneider was his name. I remember his name because he was a heavy metal fan. He was actually a fan of the band. I didn't know this. I didn't know our band had reached that far. I was burned out.
Yeah.
And so they fired me on the same day that I was coming to tell them, a little bit of kismet, that I didn't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I quit. And they asked that we do the last couple shows that we were committed to, because we already had shows committed. And I said, okay. And I powered through them.
Yeah.
And I was in pain the whole time, because I found out from the ENT that I have acid reflux disease. I have a disease where the little flap in my throat don't flap closed all the time. So if I'm laying down at night, the acid comes up. If I burp too hard, it comes up. Nature of getting older and being a vocalist. Vocalists always have these kind of problems. I find out much later. So it finally hit me, and I was just like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I want to get away. And oddly enough, this segues into podcasting. I was still feeling that itch of wanting to do something. I had quit music by this time, as Empire's the case, in the rearview mirror. And I had decided that I wanted to focus on voiceover, and I wanted to do voiceover work and voice work and stuff like that, because I've been able to do voices and stuff my whole life, to the point where I annoy people with it because it's fun.
Yeah.
My Beavis and Butthead impressions have always brought you joy.
Yeah, they make me laugh every single time.
I knew that I had something I wanted to try. Maybe that was a direction I could go. Mind you, I was doing a podcast at that. It was called Brace for Impact.
Yeah.
It was just a stupid, podcast where my friends and I, my close friends, Joe Weber and Brian Johnson, we got together, and then Rob Roach came in and you met Rob. He came out here. Shout out to Rob.
Shout out, Rob.
He joined the podcast a little bit after that, and it was just an excuse for us to hang out.
Because on that podcast, you guys did like a bunch of mock commercials.
Yeah,
and stuff,
we did
right?
mock commercials.
So it wasn't you weren't just shooting the shit. You were actually making like little. Yeah.
Things that made us laugh. It was always just things that made us laugh.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that voiceover and music were both scratching that same itch. Like, I really, really wanted to do that. I was doing the Brace for Impact stuff. I went to the Motor City Comic Con. I got in touch with one of the talents there, went specifically to see him because he's very much a part of my youth. His name's Rob Paulson. He is a very famous voice actor. He was the voice of Raphael in the original Ninja Turtles.
Oh, crazy.
He was the voice of Snow Job in G.I. Joe, the G.I. Joe Real American Hero cartoon. One of the literal Animaniacs. He was Yakko. The whole thing, United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru. That's Rob Paulson.
Okay.
I said, what did you do? I want to get into what you're doing. And mind you, I've still got podcast stuff happening. I'm editing podcasts.
And music at this point is firmly in the
music is rear view mirror.
Yeah.
This is all within a year's time.
Okay.
And he said, and he told me, get close. I got close. He said, get closer. I was this far away from him. And he looks at me and he gets towards my ear and he goes, get the hell out of Michigan. And just leaned back. Just leaned back, just like he was very proud of himself for that statement. And I was like, what?
He was just waiting for it to hit you.
Yeah. It's just like, yeah, I need to get the hell out of Michigan.
That's funny.
So at that time, like, let's rewind a little bit. I had gone to Specs Howard School of Broadcasting, and I had hung out with lots of cool people and got to know lots of cool people. Voiceover has always been a constant in my life. It's wanting to do radio commercials. I was working at a radio station whilst that was happening.
Were you into it while you were in bands at the time?
Yes, 100%. The bands and radio, it all overlapped. Everything overlapped. And I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with life. And I just wanted to do voiceover, I figured. So that was going to be my thing. So I said goodbye to my podcast bros, even though I was the guy producing the podcast. So guess what happened to that podcast?
Yeah, just
died.
Right.
Because they didn't have my technical knowledge. I didn't realize technical knowledge was a thing. I just thought everybody could figure any of this stuff out.
I would have figured that you would have leaned more into that doing voiceover than...
No.
Was it just the logistics of doing the podcast?
Well, the reason the podcast ended was because I moved here.
Ah, gotcha.
So
okay.
I finally had to make a choice, and had a lot of hurdles to jump over in order to get to here. But the reason I mentioned my time at Specs Howard is I reacquainted myself with a very good friend. His name's Phil. Shout out Phil.
Shout out Phil.
Phil lives down in Santa Rosa, and he offered me a place to stay. So I didn't have to pay rent when I moved out here.
Okay.
And that is always the first step anyone takes in moving anywhere, is just moving there and experiencing things. I didn't realize that I was moving to Santa Fe area, specifically San Anselmo, which is, I find out later, one of the most expensive places on the earth.
Yeah, San Anselmo's insane.
I don't know why. Because I moved out here and I'm like, this is not any better than Michigan. It's not. There's really nothing good here. Oh, it doesn't snow. There it is. There it is. It doesn't snow. I'm used to having 3 to 4 months out of a year where we're pretty much stuck inside the whole time.
Yeah, well, a big selling point on where we live is the weather.
Yeah,
for sure.
That was clear in 2013, so it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a decade. I've been out here a decade. Do I consider myself more of a Californian or a Michigander? My dialect would definitely point me as a Michigander. I am definitely not a Californian. The way I speak has a lot of Midwestern.
Yeah.
And we've also vibed on that before. You didn't realize you had an accent as a Californian.
I definitely do. And now that you've mentioned it, I'm trying not to do it now. So, okay, well.
Let's explain to folks, why are we doing this? Why?
Well, I think part of it is that it's an experiment. I think that in the past we've produced, so I hate to say the word content because, that's
Content.
Loaded term nowadays, but we've definitely put some stuff online on socials that people have liked, and they've said, hey, we really liked you doing these little blogs or little, 3 to 5 minute videos talking about whatever is going on. I used to do them for different bands, and we did them for our band, we did a couple of them.
Yeah, when Exemplar first started.
People like to see them, so I just figured...
well, where have we been? That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the one that I get the most. I've gotten messages to the band account. Where are you guys? Are you guys still a band?
Yeah.
Are you guys still doing something? What happened?
So the way that we kind of describe it is that we're friends first and band second.
Yep.
And so we've been sporadically working on things here and there, but I feel that life has just kind of taken precedent for us.
As well it had to.
And I mean, quite frankly, we've just been really distracted from doing music for the longest time,
Well, then why are we getting back into it again?
Because we see that our music is not only a great artistic and creative outlet for us, but other people are enjoying it too. I still think that we have a big story to tell. I still think that we have plenty of music that we would do a disservice to ourselves by not putting it out, not finishing it, and making the creation, actually making the record and going and playing it live.
Whoa, record?
Well, the record or, EPs or however the fuck we decide to do it, but we have material that we're sitting on that needs to see the light of day. And it needs to see the light of day.
Most definitely.
And it...
Most definitely.
You were talking earlier about how when you write music, you're not writing it for others. You're not necessarily writing it to try to cater it to somebody else, but it's an outlet for you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm coming from, is like, I want to hear what these songs sound like in their final form. I want to have something that I can actually listen to.
We've talked about the music itself, how it's its final form isn't even what either of us intended.
Yeah.
You with one of our newer songs, you didn't even think that it could sound like that until I added my spin on things and added lyrical content and what it could sound like, and it took it from here to here in your mind. And I find that interesting because I don't see it from there. I am not a creator like you. I can't pull music out of the ether. I've never been good at that. And it pains me that I'm not good at that, and I'm thankful that you guys have let my noted inadequacies in that area not bug you.
Well, I don't really necessarily think it has anything to do with inadequacies more than it does. We just work great together. Like we're able to create music together that speaks.
Well, and that we both enjoy.
And at the end of the day, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to create music that... I was just thinking about this morning because I was reading the Rick Rubin's book, The Creative Act.
Yeah.
And I was reading a section out of that book that talks about... the section is called Greatness. And I just happened to flip to this section because that's what the book says to do. It's like, you want to think about creativity, don't read it front to back. Like flip it open, look at a concept, let it percolate in your mind for a little bit.
Percolate, good word.
And then, see, like how I did that? I'm becoming a wordsmith myself, right?
Percolate.
And he talks about building a cabin at the top of a mountain. This cabin is built to your specifications. It's as perfect as you want it. Like your perfect pillows, your perfect stove, whatever. It's all for you. And no one else is going to visit this cabin. And you know that before you built it. So you're the only person that thing is made for. And
That's interesting.
It's an interesting idea because I've heard in the past you should make music for yourself and make it as if it'll never be released to the world. But I don't think that's quite right. I don't think you make music so that it'll never be released. I think you make music so that if you're the only person who wants to listen to it, then that's fine. Make music so that it makes you happy and it will naturally appeal to other people. Like, I don't give a shit whether or not anyone else likes my songs because I like them.
That's a great place to end it.
If you made it this far, thank you very much for tuning in. We're going to do some more. That's all I have to say.
If you checked out early, thanks for watching what you did. Later.
All right. Ogre and the Troll podcast, episode 1 in the books.